Okay, I put all the plums in the sink and wash them off. They're starting to get soft. They're more runny and they take longer to dry, but they are sweeter. You can pick the slightly harder ones and put them in, and they dry a little quicker. I bring up about 6 at a time and cut them in half. Give them a little spin, and I put the side with the seed outside the board. And then I take them like that. I give it a little slice there just to make it dry a little quicker, let a little more hot air in there. And I cut off a piece like that. About halfway, or a little less than halfway. The sides with the skin on them take longer to dry, so I don't make them quite as thick. Then I start putting them on the drying racks. At the end of the season, I put the drying racks in the dishwasher and clean them all up and store them until the next season. Okay, then you take an apple core, and the side that's got the seed, dig in and take the seed out. Then after you've done that, you slice them up the same way you did before and put them in the dryer. Okay, first rack is done. That's about 12 or 14 plums altogether. I've got more racks, but I only usually do about 5. I get tired of doing them. After they've dried for about 3 hours at 145 degrees, you have to come in and turn them over. Otherwise, if you let them always stay in the same spot, they dry and they stick. You don't have to turn over the ones that are the end pieces with the skin, because they don't seem to stick as much. But all these other pieces you need to turn over, and you can see the little grill marks on them. So then you know where you started. And so I do that on every tray, and then I put them back out for more drying. It's what they look like after about 5 hours at 145. It's still pretty plump, but I found that if I cook them too long at 145, they get too dry on the outside, and so I put it down to about 135 for some more hours. Then after it's dried for some time, you start checking it. The pieces with skin on them dry the slowest, so they're still kind of squishy. So you feel each one. You want a kind of a leathery feel. This one's pretty dry here. This one's pretty dry here. That one's good. That one can use a little more. So most of these are not dry enough. It's still early in the process. I'm going to eat this one. Some of them are over dry. So I should have checked a little bit sooner. It's been about 8 hours of drying. So I'll go ahead and I'll check every tray. Then I'll put it back out for another hour. And then check it again and start taking them out. And then I'll come back and do again another hour. When they start getting close after 7 or 8 hours, I turn it off and let them cool down, and then check them and see how they feel. they dry at different areas, different times, you know, so you've got to go pick through and check the ones and see if they're all right, see if they're dry enough. If you leave them in too long, they get really hard. And if they're still hot, they feel more flexible than they really are, so I let them cool down before I test them to see if they're dry enough.